Hi everyone, Teddy Baldassarre with TeddyBaldassarre.com. In this video, we're looking at a new watch from Oris with the Oris Aquis New York Harbor Edition. So in this video, deep dive on this timepiece, final points of consideration at the end, but also throughout this video, if you have further questions, check out the link in the description down below where you can purchase the watch, book a time with one of our dedicated watch specialists, as well as learn a little bit more. But guys, let's jump into the video and take a closer look at this watch. Since its debut back in 2011, the Oris Aquis has grown to become an established and respected pillar both for the brand's overall collection and also for enthusiasts as one of the standout dive watches on the market, and its starting price bracket around $2,000. Where Oris parts from the majority of watches in this tier is its tendency towards special editions, many of which stem from Oris's working relationships with charitable organizations, many with an environmental or sustainability focus. The watch that we're taking a look at here today is the Oris Aquis New York Harbor Limited Edition, and is another page in that history, concurrently serving as a striking new example from the Aquis family, as well as a great vehicle for the Billion Oyster Project initiative. So just to begin here, I do want to talk a little bit about what this watch is aimed to do with its connection to the Billion Oyster Project. So the Billion Oyster Project is a nonprofit dedicated to restoring the natural oyster reefs along the Hudson River, which also includes the New York Harbor. Before the Billion Oyster Project got to work, New York Harbor's oyster population was around 0.1% of its peak, with the nonprofit reporting a staggering increase of 100 million juvenile oysters since its founding. The Billion Oyster Project takes oyster shells from New York restaurants, leaves them out to dry on Governor's Island, a 172-acre island within the New York Harbor, for an entire year, then thoroughly cleans them before introducing them to saltwater tanks full of oyster larvae. Once the larvae find a cozy home on the recycled shells, the baby oysters are reintroduced into the natural world at 18 designated sites in the Hudson River and begin to form oyster reefs. And our team was actually lucky enough to be on the ground for this watch's unveiling and actually took part in helping with this cleaning process on Governor's Island before being treated to what is one of my favorite new Aquis variants in years. Now, while the other elements of the New York Harbor Limited Edition are borrowed from the regular Sellita-powered Aquis, the real area of novelty here is the dial, which takes the standard Aquis format and introduces a striking multi-dimensional effect achieved with a thin slice of mother of pearl that is then colored with this deep green hue to evoke the shades of the Hudson River itself. It's a unique execution in my experiences that pairs well with the diving format and produces a number of intriguing shades and tones in different lighting conditions while looking standard enough at a distance. Legibility isn't sacrificed either, with the standard Aquis indices that are applied and executed in faceted steel, each with a capable helping of luminescent material. The handset is in traditional modern Aquis style and also well filled with lume, and this watch glows well in the dark despite being dimmer when compared to brands known for lume such as Seiko. The date is tucked in at 6 and the dial text is under control, very minimalist in terms of its approach here. I think the Aquis sets its standard in many ways, one being its style. I would say it's one of the best in its price range, pairing utility with the opportunity for Oris to show off what it can do from a finishing perspective, traits that carry over to the rest of the case. Focusing on the case finishing specifically, we have the alternating brushing and polishing that is executed in a way that's almost the opposite of how you normally would see it in the world of dive watches, with a fully polished top surface, brush sides, and a sharp 90-degree angle on the lugs that catch the light given their polished surface and complement the distinctive bezel on this variant. Casting along the 3 o'clock side of the case, we have a large sign screw-down crown deeply set into prominent crown guards that are a key element of the Aquis case design. As a note, the crown action on most Aquis models are exceptional, with this New York Harbor Limited Edition following that trend. When it comes to the wearability of this piece, it's important to throw out there that the Aquis is nowadays available in quite a few different sizes, including this 41.5mm configuration, as well as the original 43.5mm size and the smaller 36.5mm size and 39.5mm case options. Really something for everyone that likes the Aquis look. Now, the 41.5mm variant that we have here features a set of dimensions likely to please, I would say, the majority of watch enthusiasts out there, with a 41.5mm case diameter that is aided by the relatively compact 48mm lug to lug and a reasonable thickness of 12.7mm. And while the watch itself wears a bit flat on the wrist, the package as a whole is much aided by the bracelet, which features a heavy taper down to around 16mm from that integrated point into the case, 3 microdrop adjustment points and a diver's extension is also going to be in this bracelet, and a solid build construction that very much fits the undersea tool vibe presented by this watch as a whole. For any seafaring efforts you might have planned, the watch also comes with an excellent rubber Oris strap in olive green with its smaller clasp that hides the strap tail behind the rest of the strap quite easily. Like the Cherry Aquis that debuted last year, this variant of the Aquis forgoes the standard ceramic bezel insert for a stainless steel bezel insert with polished indices and relief set against a sort of grainy matte steel texture as a background. Being stainless steel and considering the indices are actually cast or engraved into the bezel itself, it should be highly durable package for timing dives or most likely other everyday activities. Turning the watch over, we have the watch's other special feature, a deeply engraved case back offering a trio of New York oysters in relief along the New York Harbor limited edition text. Oscillating underneath, we have a very familiar Sellita caliber. While it's nothing sexy, the Sellita SW200 is pretty much what you can expect from Oris at this price range, though it's important to note, as we mentioned, the 41.5mm Aquis is now also available with those new manufacturer caliber 400s, though that inclusion does come at a significant upcharge compared to these, those coming at $3,500 on a bracelet compared to $2,700 for this limited edition version with this special dial. Still, the SW200 is nothing to sneeze at, virtually being a perfect alternative to the ETA 2824 II, with a design that has come to prove itself for decades in literally tens of thousands of watches and should be easy for any capable watchmaker to service or regulate if need be. When it comes to the SW200, we have basic specs of 28,800 vibrations per hour, 4 Hz for its beat rate, hacking and hand winding functionality, and a 38-hour power reserve. Speaking anecdotally to the accuracy presented by this particular example, we tested this one at 5 different positions. It was running around -8 to -7 seconds per day. So now to unpack looking at this Oris Aquis New York Harbor limited edition. So I think the number one con here ultimately is going to be, is this going to be worth it for a lot of people out there? This is going to be a more expensive Aquis than some of the base models from this collection. Coming in at $2,700, is that too much for some? Perhaps. But the reason why this watch is priced and positioned the way it is really because of this dial. There's a lot of brands that have this idea of sustainability and it just doesn't come off as authentic. I would say with Oris, they're one of the few brands that it just feels like it's a part of their DNA and they're able to attach themselves to people, causes that I think are very much in alignment with what the brand is all about. From a finishing perspective, both on the case, pretty much what you would expect from the Aquis, but that dial is just simply spectacular. It's not going to be for everybody, but for those that want something different in the Aquis format and are looking for maybe a green dial, this is a pretty hard dial to replicate, and I can't think of anything that springs to mind as a perfect alternative. And in the busy catalog that is the Oris Aquis collection, it's easy to get lost. This one does have an ability to stand out, and I think that's saying something. All right, guys, well, thank you again so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. Really would appreciate that. Also, this watch is available on Baldassarre.com, full authorized dealer of 30 brands, quick and fast fulfillment, dedicated customer support, and a full factory warranty for all the new products that we offer. But guys, thank you again so much for watching. Be well. We'll see you all next time.